I'll talk about it. Let's move on. Let's talk about Freedom Fighters #1.
Yeah, good one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no?
This is so backwards.
Oh,
Written
it
by Robert Venditti. Pencils by Eddie Barrows. Inks by... Oh, gosh. Freaking autocorrect got the best of me. What's the name?
Isn't it Ferreira?
Yeah, but it says Ever Ferreira, which I'm
I think
sure
it's
is wrong.
Evan.
It's probably Evan.
I think it's Evan.
Colors by
Forever
Adriano
and ever?
Lucas. Letters by Deron Bennett. Thanks,
Mr.
Deron.
Bennett.
Welcome to Earth X, where Nazi Germany's metahuman war machine conquered the planet. Man, the artwork right out of the gate was so freaking good when the Freedom Fighters first show up at the American Resistance Underground, and they've got the flag draped up and they're reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I was so excited and so fired up. Adam made fun of me because he's like, ooh, Mr. History, imagine that. It's true. I was so into this. That panel was so great. But that's the story I wanted. I wanted to stay in the 1960s. But instead, this team was brutally executed. I mean, brutally, B-R-U-tally
By
executed.
one of the coolest, most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was
Terrifying twist on a classic, pretty wholesome character before this. I think that's why it was so over the top.
But then we fast forward 50 years to where Nazi Germany still rules over America, and we get a whole lot of, it just felt like random explaining. Like, yeah, the original Freedom Fighters did die, but the new Freedom Fighters are here, and they're bringing America back. And I just don't know that this worked for me. Just let's look at it. Let's look at it. You know, you're in the 1960s, and you've got this underground resistance, and they're trying, they still have that patriotic blood. They're fighting for their country. Okay, well, let's fast forward 50 years
To present
of
day.
Nazi Germany.
To the present day.
Nazi Germany has been in control for 50 years. You know, there's a lot of things they talk about, like the brainwashing going on in schools and this, that, and the other. 50 years, man. 50 years. Do you think half the people alive even remember anything about America? No. No. The only people that would be
The old people.
extreme.
The old
Yes.
couple. They had the old couple there at one point.
That's where the random explaining came.
Yeah.
Well, here's this random old couple standing around to explain who the Freedom Fighters were. I was so in love with the opening of this book. I was so into it. I was like, this is going to be so freaking cool, man. Like, the artwork fit the time frame so perfectly. The style and the setting, everything about the opening of this book was so freaking great. And then once we jump forward 50 years, I stopped caring. I stopped caring. It felt like a generic superhero book that I'm not going to care about. And that sucks.
I agree, because I thought this was... I like the alternate history that they're going for here. I appreciate that. But I thought this was going to be set in this time. Or in the...
60s.
The 60s, yeah. That's what I thought. So... I don't... I went ahead... I went with it.
I did too.
Just to see where it goes. This is something, though, I think I wouldn't, based on the violence, because the violence was out of control. So I think based on how serious this is going to be taken, I could pick up issue 2.
I am definitely picking up issue 2. I loved everything about this book. I had a lot of fun. It's an Elseworlds title, and when Boogie gave his review, it did push me away a little bit because everything he said was right. The stuff they were doing in the 60s was amazing. They even referenced, 11/22, the JFK assassination date, as a big date in history, just in a different way. I love that, pulling in that history and making it alternate history. And then when they jump to the future, you're right. Everything you say is right. And that sort of bums me out a little bit because...
and when you're right...
When you're right, you're right. And you're right. So I'm still anxious to see where it goes, man. That whole Plastic Man thing was amazing. I had so much fun reading that, dude.
That was some of the creepiest facial expressions I have seen.
And just because
they could have done all that and still stayed in the 60s.
I know.
Yes.
I
Oh
know.
my God. One simple decision, like one little decision.
Yeah. I am
Ruined the
excited
book
to
for me.
see where he takes it, though, because obviously, and I know we say it all the time, there is going to be some relevant social stuff, that they're going to be holding up a mirror, to society in the present day. But I'm just not sure how deep Vendetti's going to get into it. You know what I mean? And it's easier to do that in the 60s. You're not going to offend anybody if you're talking about how stuff is compared to the 60s if they're taken over by Nazis. But if you take modern day is taken over by Nazis and you're trying to have these freedom fighters come up and stop a regime that's been entrenched for, 100 years almost, it does change the story substantially. But it's still a story I'm willing to see where Venditti's going to take it. And the art, dude, like you said, the art is
So great.
so great,
So good.
man.
Yeah,
And it looks so good on that DC paper. Why is
Yeah.
that DC paper so much better?
I don't know.
It looks. I love it.
Yeah.
I love reading DC books because of that paper.
Yeah, but I had a great time
I
with
don't
this,
know,
man.
man.
I really had fun with this. And maybe it was
It might be one of those deals.
just the
Go ahead.
maybe it was just the stuff that happened, like you said, before they time jumped. But the stuff that happened after they time jumped was still compelling enough for me to pick up issue 2.
See, I spent the whole time reading post time jump, just being pissed off
Yeah.
that we time jumped. Oh God, the art was so good. Man, might be a deal where I go into the comic shop and if issue 2 is out, I'll grab it,
Yeah.
and if it's not, I'm not gonna.
Depends
pull
on
it.
what else is dropping that week, right?
It just sucks because dude, this is right up my alley.
Right?
Right up
I
my
thought you
alley.
would have loved this, dude, but you're right. The time jump does take a little bit away moving out of the 60s.
We'll see what happens. Let's get into